isn't it more easy to just use cash rather than trying to find someone to barter, arguing, discussing over value, etc.? Isn't cash more easier way? What do you think?
Well, straight out cash could be easier if you have the cash.
First and foremost, do you think people would barter just for the sake of sustainability, or would it be primarily based on cost savings?
Good question. I think in the times when your expenses, your monthly expenses are increasing,
Which is the current reality.
Which is the current reality, it would definitely be a cost saving, but you also realize on a daily basis how important sustainability has become.
Good morning, Marco.
Good morning, Mohammed, and welcome to the Malaysia Dutch Business Council today.
Thanks for having me here and taking out the time. I have specifically arranged your time, my time, to have this candid conversation. I named this conversation The Power of Barter. And you know the reason exactly why. Because in my eyes, if I know a barter king, that's you. Because you have bartered so many things in your life, in your personal life, in your organizational work, business life. So we'd love to hear about that so other businesses can know as well the power of barter, because it really is phenomenal.
It is, definitely, and I've experienced that already close to 40 years ago, I would think, first in the Netherlands and then in Malaysia, and it's wonderful to be able to share some of the stories.
Wonderful, okay. So quick introduction, I will introduce you first, in a brief way. So what the guest we have here is Marco Winter. He is the director at Malaysian Dutch Business Council. This MDBC, that's how it's dubbed. It fosters connections and collaborations between businesses amongst the two countries, Malaysia and Netherlands. Marco has been in Malaysia since 30 years, almost a Malaysian, right?
Malaysian, nice.
And since how long you have been in MDBC?
For 20 years now, exactly, yes.
And are you involved in MDBC from day one?
No, not day one, although I was in Malaysia when MDBC was founded.
Okay.
But since I was not immediately working for a Dutch company or involved in investments or trade from the Netherlands, I was not so much involved in MDBC. I was not a member. That only became later, but because MDBC was founded in 1996, so I was in Malaysia, but not immediately involved until later.
Wonderful. So, quick background on me as well. I am the founder of BarterUp. It's a circular sharing platform. It was meant for public, but now we have an organizational offering as well. We see workplaces as diverse ecosystems which can be really leveraged by organizations and leaders to promote employee engagement, circular consumption, sustainability, build community, and we will get to that. And that's the main reason, that's the synergy between BarterUp and MDBC. MDBC would be one of our first customers to use BarterUp in their organization for their wide member community, which is as strong as 300 as of today. So let's get this going, Marco?
Absolutely, Marco.
Okay, so if you want to add something more on your background, fine, go for it. But if no, start telling us about your bartering journey. What led to it? What challenges you faced? What items you exchanged? How did it all begin?
Well, back to the Netherlands, early 1990s. So quite a while ago. My first job was in a marketing and communication agency in the Netherlands. We did anything from marketing consultancy to event management to sponsorship work to mystery shop testing for some of our clients. And that's the first time when bartering came up to me. Of course, as an upstarting marketing consultancy agency, you also need certain facilities. And you're not always having enough cash to pay for those. So the first barter experiences with our agency was with cars. That the staff was allowed to drive certain cars of a car brand that was our client. We did a lot of marketing consultancy projects for them. We did mystery shop testing for them to visit their dealers. So we also had to drive their cars. So part of the payment of the car company to us was by allowing us to drive their cars.
So you bartered your agency services with cars?
Correct, yeah. Cars. There was another very interesting example around the same time. We assisted organizations with event management and sponsorship sourcing. We did the marketing consultancy for the Dutch Oscars Film Festival, and as part of our fee we could also utilize, for example, a theater and a certain time slot with maybe one of the stars of a movie to have our own hospitality event. So we as the agency could do a lot of hospitality. We could invite our own clients to come to such an event and to feel the spirit of the film festival. Yeah.
Wonderful. So that's Netherlands, but
Yes.
what about here? Your role as someone who knows bartering, and with the establishment and growth of MDBC, fast forward 20 years,
Yeah.
have you experienced bartering in the establishment of MDBC?
From day one.
Okay.
When I took over the MDBC work, late 2003, early 2004, what we had at that moment was a relatively smaller bilateral chamber of commerce, as we're known, with only 14 members, 40, no immediate office, no staff, for a while no events, very limited funds. So what do you need? You need to organize events. You need to bring your members together. That's basically what a membership organization is all about. Exchange information, exchange networks, help each other out. For that you need events. Well, I had done a few years of work in the hospitality industry in Malaysia, both in KL as in Sabah, and you need to be able to afford events. So I found a few friends in the hotel industry that somehow were working for hotels that were just being rebranded, that they needed some exposure. Hotels hate to spend cash. They only want to collect cash.
Okay.
We didn't have the cash to spend. So basically my first couple of barter were members in the hotel industry. What do we have to barter as a bilateral chamber of commerce? We have memberships and the network and some advertising with our magazine. Okay, 20 years ago it was not that much online, of course, but we have a magazine, we have a directory, so more at that time hard copy. So straight out deal, hey, you give me one big event at your hotel, you get a free membership for a year. And of course, with other corporations during the year, we can promote your promotions, we can try to bring some clients to you. So even though we didn't have any money at that time, within a very short period of time, I was able to organize 5 events in 3 months, mainly through barter deals. And suddenly everybody started talking about MDBC because we were the happening place. Our members came back, our members brought other guests along, hey, you should join this organization because something is happening.
Mm.
And the hotels were happy as well because they suddenly got a crowd, they got an excited crowd, and were able to show their rooms, offer their services, establish some corporate contacts, etc.
So my
That's
question,
how it started.
when you started, the network was not so huge, right?
Yeah.
So the benefit you could give to people who were letting you use the hotel event services in return for membership, did you face any challenge because there was not much value back then? Your network was small, members were little. So what did you do? What were those challenges?
The challenge was to make sure that we would bring enough people to the event, people of a certain standing, certain decision makers, CEOs, chairmen, members of the board, maybe HR managers that would make the decisions on, hey, our company is getting foreign guests in, where do they stay?
Mm.
Hey, we want to organize an event for our company, where do we go? And actually sometimes a smaller group can be beneficial as well because the relationships that you start up are much more personal then. People have opportunity to talk to each other and to get to know each other better. So yes, there were challenges, but at the same time you can turn those into opportunities as well.
I see. And that's for the beginning in the events.
Yeah.
In establishing the office, did you come across barter stuff? Share some use cases with us, because what I've heard.
How much time do we have? I got it out.
Another 15-20 minutes. Yes.
I know. Well, the journey didn't stop there at the beginning. Another open door nearly for bartering for us as a chamber would be airlines. We needed tickets to fly back to the Netherlands to attend events. So yeah, we have our national airline. We have other airlines that were interested. Airlines also are too eager to spend cash. What do they have? They have tickets. We have membership. We have advertising opportunity. So hotels, airlines, other F&B companies, but also, for example, a photographer. We needed a professional photographer at our events, take pictures, good quality pictures, and the photographer needs more connections with corporates. Maybe they have their corporate day to take pictures, and then they can send a normal invoice. A printer. So it just slowly but surely took off from there. And I think we've had some very, very nice examples over these years. One, for example, the shirt that I'm wearing here, an upstart company that is making shirts out of recyclable plastic.
This is recycled?
This is recycled. Yeah, you can see it on this side. They get a membership, we get a bunch of MDBC t-shirts that we love to wear during events, during activities, etc. to give good exposure to the organization. And to support also their thought about sustainability, which comes back again probably in the rest of our interview here. Another very interesting example is we have a student internship program. We coordinate interns from the Netherlands to be placed here in Malaysia. Okay, the Netherlands and Malaysia are quite different. So these kids, if I may call them that, when they arrive, they need cultural competency. We found a company that has a bit of a link also to the Netherlands that can do cultural competency. We need that about 4 times a year. It's a barter membership. The company through MDBC was able to connect with corporates, get a few clients out of our network, and we receive complimentary then 4 times a year cultural competency briefing sessions to the incoming students. And that's, I think, a very original way of using bartering. So they were an upstart in Malaysia, they didn't immediately want to spend the cash on the membership. We cannot afford to bring in a cultural competency trainer, facilitator for so many sessions on a pay basis. So that was a direct barter agreement.
Isn't it more easy to just use cash rather than trying to find someone to barter, arguing, discussing over value, etc.? Isn't cash more easier way? What do you think?
Well, straight out cash could be easier if you have the cash.
Okay.
And of course we can say, okay, you give me this much cash and I pay you that much cash directly back, and you deliver this and I deliver that. But sometimes it's much easier to do it with closed books. It's a service, we provide a service, they provide a service. Because that has been one of the challenges over the years at times. How do you record a barter? How do you report the barter? We have a board of directors, we have certain governance standards. How do I make use with my team of the barters? I need to report it every quarter. And of course, sometimes the hotel is also more inclined to, you had an event at our place, we need to send you an invoice. I said, well, then I need to send you an invoice of exactly the same amount.
Okay.
So do we want to deal with that? Yes.
It has its own challenges, but then don't you think everybody is cash strapped today? Every business, they would want to save cash, even if it's as little or as much?
Absolutely. So every few months we reevaluate our list of barters, but we also constantly look at what do we as an organization require to take the next step, or how to professionalize ourselves. What do we need on this day? What do we need next month? What do we need next year? You just mentioned this office. Yes, we moved office about a year and a half ago. There's always a lot of expenses related to an office move. Because you're moving, your renovation, everything, the new fixtures, etc. But we were really able to talk to our member companies that have something to add, that have something that we need here in order to give them the exposure. Whether it's the lights, whether it's the paint, whether it's the fridge, whether it was the move in itself,
it's all bartered?
The coffee machine, the soap for the toilet. Yes. So
your soap for the toilet, your paint, your tables, your furniture,
yes.
The fridge is all bartered.
Yes.
You did not buy it.
I didn't buy anything. No.
Okay.
Didn't buy anything.
Okay, so it's bartered.
Yes, but it's not necessarily bartered in all cases. In some cases, it was also
cash.
It was no cash. In some cases, it was also a support from the company because they know that they're Dutch. They would like this office to be more of a show model for them as well, more Dutch environment. So of course they get some extra return. We put their logos on our website, we put their logos in our office, etc. to thank them.
So not only barter, you have people who give, and then there must be asking as well, right? You ask for the paint company and you must give us this paint in return for support.
They're not always asking, but having learned my lesson, I will always look at what can we give in return.
Okay.
Whether that's a logo somewhere or a free advertisement or
so it's a two-way street, eh?
Of course, it always has to be a two-way street.
Yeah.
There's no escape. You cannot just take.
True.
It will hunt you. It will hunt you down in the long run. Can I say something about this?
Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Marco has something to say about the plant here.
Even the plants are bartered for a membership. We really want to have a nice office here, whether it's the paint, the lights, the fridge, and everything else.
Can we see some items you have bartered or been given after the quick?
It's not all Dutch. Well, you can look at the paint, you can look at the lights.
At the end,
you can look at the fridge.
Okay, let's do that at the end.
I haven't mentioned any brand names yet, but of course I can mention a lot of brand names. So it's been an integral part of our journey. Mm-hmm. We started with 40 members. Because of barter arrangements, we were able to organize more events. We grew our membership. We needed more, as I said, the photography, the printing, and you build and you build and you build. And at every stage where we feel that we need to make certain expenses, because the barter needs to either lower our cash outflow, provide added value, and or provide better networks or better information for our members. So it has to flow back to our members and to our stakeholders. So whether it's the members or the student interns or our overall connection to external parties, whether it's government related or others that provide information, that have their own networks of members or databases, etc. That is the grounds on. And we actually, every barter proposal has to be approved by our board of directors, so there is a bit of governance behind it. I need to justify what do we need it for and how is it being used. And every quarter we have to make an update on that.
So a lot of business to business barter.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you mainly, I see, do it for either cost savings, cash flow, network, relationship building. I think, do you see somewhere in the fringe benefits some sustainability aspects in this or no?
Well, initially it was more the sustainability of the MDPC as an organization, because we needed to survive and we needed to try to grow as an organization. So this really assisted the sustainability of the MDPC. Ultimately, some of these relationships that you build are related to sustainability. For example, these shirts that I just mentioned, and we're now slowly but surely getting into the area of circular economy. The Dutch are big in circular economy. On our side, for many years, we've already organized our sustainability or later innovation and sustainability awards. So it's a message that we also want to give to our members. We need to educate, we need to bring them into a community where it's not wrong to barter. You don't always have to spend cash, you don't always need to purchase, waste. There's opportunities to share things and to open doors based on what are our mutual requirements.
Even countries at a national scale, they barter with each other.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff. Yeah. So if you are a business and you're watching this, there is genuine, real power in barter if you want to leverage it. So try to leverage it for your business and you will be surprised how many new doors it opens, saves you money, fosters collaboration and builds your community, including the relationships. So go ahead and try it. We will transition into the general concept of bartering now. So business to business barter, it really saves cost and everything. But if you talk about an individual to individual barter, outside the synergy of a business, what do you think does that have space in our current times, in the current decade, in the current era? Do you think bartering is really something that can help individuals with stuff? If yes, then what could be that stuff? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, more and more. Just look at the popularity of certain platforms that sell products, that sell second-hand products. So rather than just looking at selling, why not take it one step further or one step back, depends on how you want to look at it, to see if an exchange is possible, and whether that's exchange directly between two parties or sometimes three parties. That should be possible. We're now getting into a time period where we don't want more and more and more wastage. Yeah, we're looking into recycling, we're looking at sustainability, when it's CSR related or when it's circular economy related. There's enough room to maneuver with exchanges. Yeah, let's not waste, let's not throw, let's all see on an individual basis, but it can of course go to a higher platform within corporations, but also between corporations on what can be exchanged as such bartering.
So what we are looking at is, first and foremost, do you think people would barter just for the sake of sustainability, or would it be primarily based on cost savings?
Good question. I think in the times when your expenses, your monthly expenses are increasing,
which is the current reality.
Which is the current reality, it would definitely be a cost saving. But you also realize on a daily basis how important sustainability has become, how consumers are looking into packaging, looking into where products are being made, how products are being made, and taking that as part of their decision making, their daily shopping, etc., their daily expense accounts. So I think it's both at this moment. Yeah, we're going through hard times. In many countries there's high inflation, there's energy costs that are increasing. So people need to see how they can save their costs, save their expenses, but at the same time, how can we be better for environment, for nature.
But on a personal bartering, individual to individual, there is a lot of social stigma that I've come across with. Like, oh, why should I use someone's used stuff? Why should I use the pre-loved stuff? I have the money, I'll buy new. So do you think new is an illusion? What are your thoughts about its social stigma? I mean, I understand it could be more related to fashion.
Yeah, definitely fashion, but at the same time, in my home country, there's a lot of businesses that do really well by taking in clothes that are no longer used, checking them, washing them, maybe fixing them if necessary, and putting that up for sale at a low price, and money that is made by that go to a good cause. So it's not that unique anymore. More and more people are getting used to the concept, and the more acceptable it is, the more it will reach let's say the higher levels of society, who are also getting more and more involved in this. So I think it's more and more acceptable. It's now really becoming a stigma more that, hey, don't waste. Hey, work for a company that is socially and sustainably responsible. ESG is becoming a daily hit. Everybody's talking about ESG. So I think you now look at it from the other side. You will become a negative person if you don't participate in things that are related to sustainability or wastage.
So bartering is just one way to reduce waste when we talk about circular consumption. Yeah. But there are many other ways as well. For example, I'll speak a little about Barter Up. We started with barter only, but then immediately we saw that not every person may need to barter. This is my personal example. I had so much stuff at home. I didn't want to barter. I just wanted to give away to a neighbor, to a friend, to a colleague, to even if it's a stranger on the platform, right? And sometimes if I'm giving away stuff, I also felt the need, maybe if there is an option to interact while asking the community, hey, does anyone has an extra this or an extra that? Rather than me buying new, which should be my last resort, I should just ask from the community. And then other interaction models could be renting from someone for a temporary need and then returning it back, borrowing it from someone, then returning it back. Because what my research says is 90% of the purchases we do are in the spirit of novelty, and most of them sit idle after 6 months. Yeah. So if I ask you, do you have a lot of stuff to declutter from your home? Would that be the case, or that's an illusion for me?
Well, I should. I keep way too many things. When I moved house a few years ago, I'm a tennis player. I won a lot of tournaments. My prizes started stacking up in my storage room. I won a lot of tennis bags. Okay, I had a stack that was literally this high with all kinds of tennis bags. So what did I do? I organized a tennis tournament at my club, and I gave free tennis bags to the top 10 in the tournament. So that's another way of just indeed getting rid of your extras. and making sure that other people don't have to buy and buy and buy. I can also throw them away, but of course it is very usable. And I think I see that more and more around me. People that are moving house, they have yard sales, offices going, changing, moving office, moving location. They have a lot of extras which they might not be able to use at the new office. They will sell it, they will put it up, they will invite maybe charity homes to pick it up. Look at all these good causes that are related to food left over in hotels. Yeah, they pick it up, they bring it to homes in the evening or the next day. That is all part of a new concept of living, and then barter fits perfectly in that.
I'll give you an example, a use case, a made-up use case. Let's say NDPC has 500 employees. BarterUp is coming up in a month with their organizational offering. So BarterUp as a circular sharing platform for an organization, for their employees, within their organization. So let's say if you were using BarterUp in your organization, having 500 employees, where they can engage with each other on these interacting modes of circular consumption, bartering, giving, asking, renting, borrowing. Would that benefit you as an organization? Do you see it would create employee engagement or build community, enable cost savings? Maybe you can be the vehicle to create the social environmental impact because every listing would be saving emissions for you. What are your thoughts about that as a business? Because I want to hear that from you so that other businesses can hear that and relate to that.
Well, MDPC itself, of course, does not have 500 employees, but we have 300 members who have between 1 and thousands of employees themselves. I think the concept would be really worthwhile exploring because we are all looking for things. We're all looking to get rid of stuff, bring in new stuff, etc. And many homes will have a rule, hey, you can only buy something new if you got rid of something else, right? So such a platform should work, I think, but you need a few success stories. Yeah, what has materialized on the platform? Who was lucky in getting something, or who was lucky in getting rid of something and getting really good value back for that? MDPC has always been quite a strong community, I feel. Yeah, we've been close to our members, engaged with our members. Hell, we even won an engagement award a few years ago as a bilateral chamber in the whole Asia Pacific region. Yeah, the best engagement award with our members. So that's something that we can be proud of. And I feel that starting an initiative like this, maybe visit a bunch of our members, especially the SMEs that might not be big enough because they have 5 or 10 or 20 people, then your own community for bartering is very limited and you can just talk to each other in the office. But if we can make it wider community, that perfectly fits the MDPC objectives, the way we deal with our members, the way we're always creative with new initiatives, etc. So, yeah.
I genuinely believe this would be one of the best green initiatives a company can subscribe to and bring into their company. You're right, we must have some success stories, use cases. We do have a list of customers, and I would like to again reconfirm with you, MDPC would be one of our first BarterUp organizational customers, and you can extend this platform to your 300 strong member community, and they will have their own people. So I easily see this community would be 1,000+ people, and then they can engage with each other on the concepts of circular consumption. And I won't charge you for this, but let's barter this as well. I'll give you that platform, right? You can use it, but in return you have to offer me something as well, because it's a two-way street, right?
Are we still on camera?
Yeah.
All right. I'm sure we can find something that is of value to you that we might have available within MDPC. I mean, just the reach that we have, of course, 200-300 member companies. As I said, whether they have 1 employee or 10 or 1,000 employees, we need to find the right platform of how can we initiate, how can we materialize, how can we work this out. So everybody, the companies are comfortable, especially the HR managers, the CEOs, to push this within their companies, to promote this stronger, but of course also the people themselves. Yeah, whoever goes into the platform as an employee of one of those member companies need to be able to find some value in it.
Yeah. I'm sure they will. Let's give it a go. Let's start it. Yeah. And in our public platform, we do have use cases, many universities onboarded, more coming from Malaysia as well.
Right.
We have daily listings coming in, new users coming in. But yeah, use cases and success stories for platform for the organizations. We will get there. We already have 6-7 customers, including MDBC. MDBC was one of the first one in the 7 as well.
Yeah.
So let's give it a go. Thank you so much for your time. If you were watching this, I would like to thank you for your time and listening to this. If you have any questions, drop in your comments. You can see the MDBC link right above this finger of mine. You can have a look at them as well. And if you want to become a member, you can barter a membership if you have something.
We need something of value.
Yeah. And here is a link for BarterUp as well. You can check our story and our journey, and let's make a better future for all of us, for all the coming generations. Not only sustainability. Use your spare capacity, the stuff you have access wisely. You can save a lot of money, because the current times we live in, our budgets are shrinking, our expenses are increasing. So let's make the most of it. Thank you so much, Marco. Thank you.
Okay, Mohammed, we'll do this.
We want to still see your stuff that you bought.
Yeah, let's walk around.
Yeah, let's walk around.
Oh yeah, thanks so much for the lights.
These are the lights that have been bartered. This orange paint has been bartered. This table.
Furniture came through a donation from the Netherlands Embassy when they moved office.
Nice.
The rest of the paint, the lights. Let me turn on some lights here for you.
Nice.
Yeah, even 3D lights.
Very cool.
Yeah. And there you can actually see our office is proudly supported by.
Okay, so these are the companies that gave away stuff as well in support. All right.
One logo is not on there. You just saw the plant of Midori. We have.
This orange paint is amazing.
Yeah.
The blue one as well. It actually matches your branding.
Exactly.
What else is?
Oh,
so there's also bartered, eh?
Very
Wow, nah. Cool.
Yeah.
And you said your coffee machine is also bartered, right?
The coffee machine, we're working on that. That's
Okay.
coming soon. Even some of the waste baskets are a Dutch brand, Brabantia.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So, and the very important office desk. I think that's very important for us as well, because it's top quality. You can stand behind it. You can sit behind it. So very useful for all the colleagues that at certain moments of the day we stand behind our desk. So
And that's your office?
Yeah, but don't go there.
That's the boss's office, eh? Okay, wonderful. This plant is also bartered?
Yeah, it's part of the barter.
Wonderful. I should spend more time and learn the tricks of barter with you. Thank you, Marco. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Mohammed. Pleasure having you here.
I hope you enjoyed the podcast, the video podcast, or whatever you want to call it, and use the power of barter, because we just had Barter King live with us here. Not live, actually.